All right. So here we are back here. I got a super special guest. My man, Alex Okafor, Super Bowl champ.
There we go.
Been in the Super Bowl twice.
Mm-hmm.
Sacked Tom Brady. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, like, I can't even like do it any justice, man. Tell people who you are, man.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. Alex Okafor from Pflugerville, Texas, Super Bowl champion. Like you said, been to the Super Bowl twice, going into my 9th year into the league. Philanthropist, have a lot of stuff set up in my community. Always trying to get that better, and just looking for my next opportunity. I'm a free agent, so we'll see what happens next.
Right. So, just to give people kind of like a little context on how we literally bumped into each other.
Yes, sir.
man, like it's crazy. So we're out at the Super Lounge. Well, actually, like I go out. It's my friends basically like going away party. He was going to DC. We were out downtown. Everything's kind of closing. We're like, hey man, we should probably go home. We should probably go home for the night. Plans changed in the car. We're like, hey, there's this hookah spot that's open. And when we went in there, it was dead. It was dead. Like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll probably be here for like a few minutes or whatever. Still making a decision, people coming in, I head to the bathroom. I come out the bathroom. I don't even remember what I say to you. Like, next thing I know it, we chilling. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, no, I remember that. I was actually out that night, and I was about to pack it up home, and I ain't never been to that spot. And I was passing by, and I seen like people walking in because I think I came in a little bit after you, and I enjoy smoking hookah. It helps me unwind and whatnot. So I was like, I told my Uber, hey, pull over real quick. I'm gonna go inside. I'm from Austin, so anytime there's a new spot, I'm trying to check it out. So went inside. Like you said, I don't even know how we got to conversating, but we sat down and we chopped it up for, a good 10, 20 minutes, man. So now we're here.
Yeah, it was dope, man. It was dope. Like it was just all vibes. Like it felt natural. And that's what I really liked. You know what I'm saying? You being an athlete, professional athlete, like there's not a lot of y'all to bump into you and you to be down to earth like that. I think that's real dope. Like that's good vibes. Good vibes like exude, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right, man. So where do we start? You know what I'm saying? Like
let's just keep it free flowing, man. You set the topic and we'll just, we'll play off each other.
Okay. So I guess the first thing, like, how is it living out the dream, being a football player? Like, is it still in year 9? Like, is it still like, dang, I played like in the NFL, or is it kind of like routine for you?
Yeah. I mean, when you're at work, when you're at the office, it just feels routine. When you're at practice, when you're sitting in meetings, when you're traveling for the games, everything just feels routine. But then, every Sunday you get that reality check that, damn, man, I'm living out the dream, man. And then really Sundays is when it hits me for the most part. And I'm not talking about like every blue moon Sunday. Every single Sunday I get the same chills, the same excitement, man. And it's just like, damn, dog, I grew up dreaming of this. I grew up wanting to be this. And, now I'm here. And then especially playing for the Chiefs the past 2 years, we went to the Super Bowl, man. Like, kids, like, I mean, you over here laughing, like you can't even dream of that, man. So, I've been blessed. I know that. And, I'm just out here living the dream every single day.
Yeah, man. Like that's like what's so crazy. Cause there's one thing I do remember like bumping into you and you was like, I played for the Chiefs. And I was like, oh, okay. You're a receiver?
Man, trust me, I get that all the time, bro.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? Bro, you're tall. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I'm tall, but I'm like, I always tell people like I'm normal tall, but I see you and you're like, I'm a football player. Definitely a receiver. You're like, I'm a defensive end. I'm like, oh, dang, for who? You're like the Chiefs? I'm like, dang, for real? I'm like, and what I say, I ain't even mean to disrespect you. I was like, the practice squad, and you was like, I'll start. I'm like, Bro, stop talking, man. Like,
No, it
this is
wasn't
hard,
even. It
man.
was,
You know, because it's like you say your name and it's like, oh dang, yeah. But it's like y'all have the helmet. It's hard. Like it's
yeah,
hard.
man. And you'd be surprised how many how often people mistake me for like a skill position, whether that's a receiver, whether that's a tight end, or even a basketball player. Nobody ever guesses defensive end on the first guess. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think a lot of that has to do, like you said, I got a helmet on. On TV, I look a lot bigger because I got pads on, all this type of stuff. So I get it all the time when people see me in person. They're like, "Dang, you didn't slim down a little bit." I'm like, "Man, that's just the pads. The TV adds about 10 to 20 on you."
That's what they say too, man. And it's like, you know, I guess like, hey, it's true. Cause yeah, you would see that. You seem like a slim, like athletic dude, but like you're not like, how can I put it? You're not like skinny by any means. You're just like slim build. But I guess that probably like, I guess your build that probably helps you. You know what I mean? Like, because you're probably faster than like the people who's your opposition. You know what I'm saying? So like, I guess it's a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what I mean. That's the good thing about DNs, man. We take pride in our athleticism just because, we got to be strong enough to manhandle 300-pound linemen, but at the same time, we got to be quick enough to run around them. So, I mean, as a D lineman, especially as a DN, you're a special athlete.
Yeah, I think so too. I always got like a soft spot for like DNs. So obviously, you see my size. I started off as a defensive end, but I was like 8, bro. Yeah, but yeah. So started off on it, and I just remember being a kid, and I was like, I'm gonna be like Reggie White, y'all. I was like, I'm gonna be like this big monster chasing dudes down, and I just noticed as I was getting older, people kept getting bigger. I just kept getting taller, and I was like, this ain't working out. Like I'm supposed to be getting taller and bigger.
Right.
Yeah,
man. Man, first of all, rest in peace, Reggie White. The best that ever did it. But yeah, man, DN, we special athletes, brother.
I think so, man. I think so too. So tell me, man, all right. So coming up playing football, was you always a defensive end? Or like were you kind of like moved around and then later on found your spot at defensive end?
Yeah, so I've always been defensive end and tight end. I really started as a tight end. All through middle school, I was tight end. Freshman year, tight end, and played a little bit of D end on the side. And then sophomore year, when I got to varsity, that's when, I was still a tight end. But then they started giving me more burn at D end. And, all the college coaches that came, to look out and to scout, they were like, who's that D end right there? Who's that D end right there? And nobody was saying, who's that tight end right there? They were all saying D end. So, just naturally, I kind of found my fit and kind of took off with it.
So if you had had your choice, what would you have wanted to play?
Man, I'm good at D end. Any position, or are you talking about D end or tight end?
D end or tight end, but okay. I guess that's a better question. Yeah. But first, D end or tight end?
Okay, between the two, I mean, I'm happy to be D end. And the reason why I say that is because in the NFL, man, there's like very few like elite pass catching tight ends. So now, if I was one of those few, elite pass catchers like a Travis Kelce, guys like that, Jordan Reed, who just retired, guys like that, I'd take tight end. But the reality is, 80 to 90% of the tight ends in this league are mostly blockers. So I'm good playing DN, brother.
Right. At least you get to hit somebody.
Hey, listen, I get some action. I get some burn, bro.
Yeah.
Like you said, I get to hit QBs. I mean, ain't nobody just trying to block the whole game.
Right. No, definitely not. Like, don't nobody remember the dude like, hey, you see dude blocking though?
Right. Like for you to show up on a highlight tape, like you got to knock somebody off the ball like 10 yards though. So,
yeah, real talk.
I'm good getting these sacks and hits, bro.
So, all right, then, because you brought up a name. Let's talk. What is it like for y'all or for you? I'm about to say because y'all call it work. Like it's so crazy to me because I'm like, it's so dope. It's like a dream, but it's like I guess like after you do it, it's like work. But so, what is it like being amongst like people who we think normal people is like, dang, that's Travis Kelce, dang, that's Pat Mahomes, but you work with these dudes. Like, what's that like, man? Like, Are they're just probably like guys to you, huh?
Right. So, I mean, anytime you first meet somebody, so when I first signed with the Chiefs, you know, I wasn't starstruck or nothing like that, but you respect other people's games. So when you actually see somebody in person, you know, for the first time, you're like, okay, that's dope. That's so and so, or oh, that's so and so, and you just keep a little tab, and you know, you get a little excited because you respect their game. But
Right.
then, you know, once you start going to work with them every single day, you learn people's personalities, and once you learn people's personalities, you know, you get to an intimate level, and you just don't look at them like that no more. You just look at them as like normal people. Like I'm sure we're chopping it up right now. And
Right.
when we first met, you thought I was somebody, you know, special, something like that. But now we just, you know, we vibe and we homies. And that's how it is with, you know, everybody we work with. Once you get to know somebody, that little superstar status starts to come down a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, because like when I met you, I'm like, dang, dude plays for the Chiefs. I hope I ain't like show it like that, but I'm like, dang,
Oh
dude
no.
plays for the Chiefs, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, you know what I'm saying? That's cool, but I just always try to keep like the mentality of y'all are normal dudes, even though like some of y'all are like humongous, you know what I mean? But y'all have like y'all normal dudes, y'all just got really cool jobs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. And you realize too, like playing with a lot of these guys, everybody lives like a normal life. Like obviously, you know, Pat got to have security a lot of the places that he goes, but Pat's just a different. He's another breed. He's another level of superstardom. But everybody
right.
else just lives normal lives, man. They all drive themselves to work. They all drive themselves home. You know, they live in neighborhoods. They're not all gated off. Like I mean, people. I mean, most guys I work with are normal guys, man.
That's dope, man. Like y'all, yeah, because I mean, like obviously y'all grew up normal guys, you know, like so why would you change? Like I had to like start to put that in my mind after like a while because I'm thinking like when you're younger, you're thinking like, dang man, dudes in like the NFL or the NBA, dude is like probably doing just all like type of extravagant stuff 365 days a year. You know what I mean? Which y'all can afford to do that, but I'm sure like there's some things like you might like ramen noodles, like you know what I mean. I'm about to sit down, have a bowl of ramen noodles, and chill. My girl
That's
watching the Housewives. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like,
yeah,
I mean, you hit it right there on the head, man. Really, quarterbacks are the only people that, you know, live slightly differently than most people. Outside of that, man, we're all doing whatever y'all doing.
yeah.
But speaking of that, the only non-quarterback that I ever played with that lived kind of like, you know, that couldn't live a normal life was when I first played for the Arizona Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald. And,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, Larry got these dreads, you know, he's first ballot Hall of Fame, top five, really. Um, so I mean, he's a legend out there in Arizona, so he can't go anywhere. So I remember Fitz, anytime he went somewhere, he's always have to put a hoodie on and like damn near run to his car. But I mean, outside of him, I've never really seen that anywhere else.
That's gotta suck though. Like I always think about
Yeah.
that. Like, can you imagine like? Well, I'm sure, like, cause you're tall, so people probably like they probably assume that you do something. You know what I mean? But could you
Right.
imagine like, oh, there go Alex.
Like you said, when people call me out, it's like I know you do something, and I mean I'm okay with that. But I couldn't imagine like somebody spotting me and knowing exactly who I am from like 10 yards out. Like that
Man,
sounds miserable.
like imagine like, yeah, it's gotta like. I just think like I remember So I remember offline we talked about you said you like basketball, so I'm sure you watched like the Last Dance series they had.
Absolutely.
Imagine being Michael Jordan, bro. Like
Oh man.
you can't do nothing. Like somebody's probably gonna find out what you have for dinner. You know what I mean? Like you can't do anything, man. Like it's gotta suck being like just super duper high profile. You can't run to the store. Um, you can't have a bad day anytime. Like, well, that's almost any of y'all though. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you have a bad day and they like they rip you guys apart, man. Like, and it's just because
Yeah.
it's like you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know I'm not telling you nothing that you don't know. People like just expect y'all to, well, he's an athlete, so he's a robot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you're a regular person with regular emotions. Like, you go through shit like everybody else does. You know, like, and I think people
Mm-hmm.
forget that.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head, man. And the part that I really like that you said is we're not allowed to have bad days, man. And like you could have the worst day of your life, but if a fan recognizes you and comes up to you and asks you for an autograph, I mean, you got to sign it, or at least you got to politely decline it. You can't tell them how you really feel because you're having a bad day. Because if you do, now you're being judged. Now I'm sure there's some kind of camera phone out, and now you're going to be trending on Twitter for being an asshole. So,
of course.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's what we sign up for. You know, it's why we make great money. So, I mean, I can't complain too much, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, I assume it comes with that. Like, so, where was I at? I had somewhere I was gonna go off of that. Oh well. Anyways, so I remember a circumstance on that same topic. I'm down in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting at a Pizza Hut, so I'm staying kind of off of Bourbon Street. I'm at the Pizza Hut. My wife's upstairs. You know, I'm downstairs getting the pizza, of course. And so I'm in the back of like this Pizza Hut, and I see this dude come walk in, and he had the duck to come in the door, and like I recognized him. I was like, I couldn't think of his name, but I was like, dang, that's the dude who backs up Anthony Davis. But that's normally how I am. Like, I would literally have to be as close to somebody as I was to you. To speak to them. I'm not about to, like, you know what I mean, come up, because I imagine dudes like he had like t-shirt, sweats, he had flip-flops on. You obviously came down just to get your food. Out of nowhere, I hear outside the building, a jet cell. And I see this dude come running in. He came running inside of like the Pizza Hut. And like I see like so I see dude turn around from the counter, he looks and he has like this look on his face like and so dude comes in, he was like, man, can I get phone already out? Man, can I get a picture? Blah, 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 blah. And he's turning around with him, right? And I'm like, as soon as I seen it, I was like, damn, that has to suck. Like, oh my God, that has to suck. I just came down here to get, and I know you don't want to say it sucks. That's fine. I'll say it for you. It has to suck, man. It's like, like, hey man, I'm in a rush. I'm trying to go do blah, blah, blah. And it's like, obviously, we all like sports, but some people like you like it so much it almost turns you selfish. Like,
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I'd say for me, the hardest part for me is when I'm like out eating with the fam and somebody will come bombard and be like, hey, can you sign this? Stand up. Can we take a picture and all this? And it's like, man, like I'm trying to enjoy this food with my fam. Like I barely get to see him as it is. So, you know, we're trying to have good conversation. We're trying to eat. Outside of that, like you all up in our personal space while we're eating. So, I mean, that's when it's most difficult for me when I'm out eating with my people. But I mean, other than that, man, I'm pretty easygoing. So most people can approach me outside of that. But just, you know, some food for thought. Think twice before you approach somebody while they're eating with some, you know, with some people with their. So I mean, they want to enjoy that.
Yeah, that's a definite thing. I ain't gonna keep harping on that. I got like a few stories of where I've seen people do this stuff, man, and I just feel like I was like, oh my God, man, like, yeah, I won't keep going on that. So switching it back to you. All right. So did you ever have a moment like in your NFL career to where you was starstruck by somebody who you saw?
Man, yeah, I mean, it's happened. As I get older, it happens less and less, but I will say, so I've been on 3 teams. I was drafted by the Cardinals, signed with the Saints for 2 seasons, and then played with the Chiefs the past 2 seasons. When I signed with the Saints and when I saw Drew Brees for the first time, I think that might have been my like starstruck superstar moment, just because Drew is from Austin, so he's from this area. So, you know, playing football out here in Central Texas, like Drew is the standard. Like that's probably the most famous athlete we have come through here. So to actually get to play with him and see him for the first time, yeah, that was special. I can't even flex on that.
I couldn't even imagine. Like, hey, it's one thing for me to see somebody, because I'm like, I just got to hold it down for like 3 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I feel like to be around somebody probably like Drew Brees and just like probably, you know, he probably like gives game without even trying. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you know, like people that's been in the league that long, like you said, man, it's like they don't even mean to be giving you nuggets, but they're just out here while they talk, just out here dropping these nuggets, and I'm picking every single one up, man.
With your shirt, like
Right. So I mean, that's the dope part about him, and I've learned, so much from Drew, and he's a good dude. So I
Yeah.
definitely say I'm proud to say that was my starstruck moment.
Yeah, nah, I can only imagine. Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, you've had some pretty good experiences with quarterbacks, man. Like, you got to
Yeah.
win a chip with Pat Mahomes. You got to play
Yeah.
with Drew Brees. You got to sack Tom Brady. Like, hey, man,
Hey, I've maximized my career, man. I might not be, that huge household name, but I've done more than most guys that you know. So, I feel
nah,
good about that.
I definitely, and I think that people should respect that almost on any level, even to the dude. Like whenever I had asked you when I met you, was you on practice squad? It wasn't like because like, was you on practice squad? Like, you know what I mean? It was like I just didn't know who you was. Like,
Right.
I think any of that, I've known some guys who go do that, and like they'll be like try to be humble about it. Like, yeah, I played for such and such, but like the practice, I'd be like, how many other people play for them, bro? Like, hey man, like you saying it like it's low, like
Yeah.
I was on the practice squad, like, well, when you was doing that, I was going to work somewhere else. Like,
Right.
like be proud about what you accomplished, definitely. And then like even for you, man, like think about that. You got experiences with Larry Fitzgerald, with Drew Brees, with Patrick Mahomes. Like you're like everybody. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's probably like cliche in y'all world to say like everybody like impacts, but like that's the truth. And then it ain't like you just going there, you being on the roster, you actually playing. You know what I mean? So like, oh man, like hell yeah. Like I think that's big.
Yeah, no, it's dope for sure, man. And I'm just kind of going back to what you're saying, how like even practice squad guys, they be, a little not even ashamed. Ashamed ain't a good word, but like just a little reserved when they're, telling people, oh, I play, but I'm only practice squad. Man, that's to me, that's that like new age social media mentality, man. Like I feel like if you ain't the social media age is if you ain't balling at the highest level, if you ain't the most successful at the highest level, people we've been trained to be ashamed of that. Like, there's satisfaction in the process. There's satisfaction in, getting to where you want to go. And we're in the social media age where you don't see none of that anymore. You either see, people at the bottom or you see people at the very top. There's no in between nowadays. And
Yeah.
I think we need to get that back a little bit.
Yeah, man. People need to like respect people's grinds, man. That's like there's to make it on the practice squad. I think it's just a good thing in itself because like I assume like being in the NFL, you would know better. You could speak on this better, but I assume like being in the NFL, just like with any other thing, like if you could get in the room, that probably helps like a lot, man. Like just get in the room. There's probably some super talented dudes who's not in the room. You know what I mean? So it's
Absolutely.
like if you could get in the room and if you can get in front of like the right people, maximize your opportunities. It don't matter how you got there. Like I'll always tell people, I'd be like, bro, I'm right-handed, but I kick with my left foot. I should go try to be a punter. And I'm like, yo, let me go be a punter. And I honestly don't know how I don't even know if you can try out for the NFL. Yeah. Let me go be a punter. And we go to the Super Bowl. And all I do is punt. I'm like, all right, bro, look, don't let me ever be a punter and like the play breaks up and I got to take off and I actually get like a first down or something like that. I'm talking big shit like I scored. Yeah. Like, man, you would be able to tell me that.
Facts,
I'm talking man. Big noise, man.
Like, you got to be proud of what you do, man. You gotta be proud. You got to embrace the grind and embrace the process, man. Never be ashamed of where you're trying to go. So,
yeah. So, all right, man. But you're deeper than a football player, though. So, say you're a philanthropist. Talk about that for a little bit.
Man, so I'm from Pflugerville, Texas, which is like 20 minutes north of Austin. That's where my heart and soul is, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without that community. So anything that I do, man, I always try to give back to that community. And this past season, me and the Chiefs introduced a reading program to my old elementary school out there in Pflugerville. It's called the United Kingdom Reading Program. And basically what that consists of is when the George Floyd stuff broke down last year when everybody was going through, social justice movements and stuff like that. Everybody was wondering, everybody was asking, what can we do? What's a simple fix for this? Not simple, but what can we do? What steps can we take to, further the social justice issues? And me and the Chiefs, we put something hard in stone. We figured that racism, bigotry, all that type of stuff, those are learned behaviors. Those are not something that you're born with or born as. And it starts as a kid. So we figured if we can get a hold of these kids at a young age and groom them the right way and start introducing things such as diversity, equality, stuff, nice friendships between people that don't look like you. If we can start introducing some of these things at a young age, then I think kids will grow up, much better than they've done in the past. And that's what we're trying to do. So with the reading program, basically what we do is we target a set of books that, covers those topics I just mentioned: equality, social justice, inclusion, all these types of stuff. And we give them to the kids at the elementary school. And we do reading questions and discussion questions with them, and just making sure they're grasping these type of concepts so that when they grow up, they're essentially better people and have a better way of thinking, if that makes sense.
That is super cool. That's really good, man. Like, so I don't know if I had told you whenever we had met, I recently moved around here. So I say recently, but like 4 years ago. And so it's been like a year, right at a year, since I've been out the Army. So I'm like kind of like now, all right, trying to become a Texan, I guess you'll say, right?
Don't worry, it's not going to take you long.
Yeah. Hey, no, I feel embraced, I like it. But so I guess what I'm trying to get at is I don't really know like the makeup of Pflugerville. I see that Austin's kind of mixed. Does Pflugerville look like Austin? Or
yeah, I'd say Pflugerville looks a lot like Austin. If not, Pflugerville might be even a little bit more diverse than Austin. The way, Austin has been broken down, Austin's like the new hot area to move to. So like the lower income communities in Austin have been all getting bought out by people trying to remodel and redo stuff. And really that community has been pushed up north to Pflugerville. So if anything, I'd say even Pflugerville might even be a little more diverse than Austin. But I mean, for the most part, they look like each other.
That's good then. So I guess because what I was trying to ask was, I wanted to see like, I don't even know how to form the question what I'm asking. Basically, I think it's good that you're doing it in like a very diverse area, because these are like you said, these kids are going to grow up with each other. These would be the people who deal with it. It wouldn't be so much like the people out in the rural areas. I know some people, they say that you want to try to target racism in the rural areas, and I agree with that, but they're not like the people who everybody's going to deal with on a regular. A lot of times they'll stay out in the rural areas. It's the people who are like intermingle with each other, you know what I mean? Go to school with each other, got to work with each other, grow up and now borrow each other's services, you know what I mean? Who have to come together. That's where like, yeah, I think that's really good. Then tackle it at an early age. Cause like you said, it's taught in the home, man. And it's disgusting, I just don't understand why you would teach somebody to hate, like.
Absolutely, man. Like anybody, if you've ever met like kids are the most innocent creatures we got, man. And they just don't come out the womb being a racist, being a bigot. That's not the case. Like you said, it's taught in their homes or people that they're close to. So, if we can just get them thinking positively about other people that don't look like them at a young age, then I think it can help a lot of the issues that we're going through nowadays.
Yeah. No, definitely. So outside of that, is there anything else that you do? That's really dope, by the way, though.
I appreciate that, man. I work on a few projects here and there. That was my big one from last year. Also, every year I have my annual football camp. I haven't been able to do it the past 2 years because of COVID, but whenever I expect to pick that back up next year, and it's going to be an annual thing. We try to get close to 500 kids out there. So that's where my heart's at. I just want to do whatever I can positively for that community.
Yeah, that's good. So I guess, all right, it's still kind of off football, but on football. So I see that you're doing like a lot of things in Pflugerville. What happens if, because you're a free agent right now, right?
Yep.
What happens if, which hopefully hopefully you get picked up, you know what I mean? Does your effort still remain focused on Pflugerville, or do you take those and you put those in the city of the team that picks you up?
Yeah, so my biggest projects will always be in Pflugerville. Like anything that's going to take a significant amount of time, a significant amount of energy, money, that's going to go into Pflugerville. But for the cities that I go play in, I just do small little, everyday things in those communities just to help them out as well. Like in KC, I worked with an activist group called Stand Up KC. And, we did a few projects here and there, nothing too crazy. Same thing in New Orleans, same thing in Arizona. Any city that I'm in, I'm gonna try to, stick my footprint in and help any way that I can. But like I said, most of the big, huge projects are targeted for my community in Pflugerville.
Okay. So I got some questions for you, which these are the ones where I guess you'd be like, all right, don't go too deep on these. When you get signed with a team, well, it's not nothing personal. It's personal, but not personal. When you get signed for a team, do you live where you get signed at, or do you like live somewhere else and I guess like air commute? Like, because y'all have that availability. Well, financially, y'all have that availability to like, the weather's so much better in Maui. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense for the time zones, but you get what I'm saying. The weather's so much better here than it is, in Buffalo. So I'm gonna live over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So to answer that question, in season, we got to be in the city. Like in season, you got to be in that city just because you meet every day, you go to work every day. Off season, most people go back to, where they're from, unless they live in a dope ass city like Miami or, Miami, LA, New York, the big three. So
yeah.
Outside of that, Arizona, I toss in there as well. But outside of that, most people just go home to where they're from. They're comfortable there. And, most NFL teams are in, small market towns, or at least a lot of them are. So, guys work out there during the season, and then in the off season, they go back home and have some fun.
Yeah. So what's like the dopest place that you've gone on an off-season trip?
Whew, man, I'm not gonna lie. Me and my old lady, we just got back from Dubai this off season, and I think that trip topped anything that I've ever been to. Dubai is a whole different breed, man. A whole different ball game out there, and we had a blast.
Yeah. Is it expensive out there? I know it's expensive to get there. Shoot.
The thing about it, surprisingly, this year, it wasn't that expensive to get there because of COVID and the flights were, relatively empty. But once you get out there, it's steep. In the way they get you is the conversion rate is like 3 to 1. So if something costs $3 in USD, over in Dubai, it's gonna be $1. So in your mind, you're like, damn, I'm saving out here. Like, not even saving, but like, I'm not, I'm hitting the lick out here.
But,
yeah. You get back and you check your statements, and even though it's a third of the price in conversion rate, the money still, it's weird. The money is still so much steeper out there, and the prices are so much steeper out there that you got to be careful because you're losing.
Man. It's funny that you say that. Hey, I would love to go to Dubai. But so one of the places I was stationed, deployed, it depended on the person who you was talking to. Mm-hmm. So I'm out in Kuwait. And I'm really like 30, 45 minutes away from Kuwait City, which is a really nice city, by the way. I think everybody thinks like all of Kuwait sucks. Like, no, a lot of Kuwait is just sand, but like Kuwait City is like super nice. They have this dope mall. It looks like Lenox Mall.
Okay.
Super nice. Like,
I wasn't expecting nothing like that out in Kuwait, man.
But it's in the mid. So look, on the way going there, there's nothing but sand dunes, dudes riding camels, tents out in the middle of the desert. But on the road, you're gonna see Ferrari, Bugatti, Lamborghini, Ferrari, like that, boom, 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 flying past you, right? And so we're like driving, and we're all like in the car, like, hey y'all, we got to try to look like we're normal. You know, it's a black dude, it's a white dude, it's an Asian dude. Like, we got to try to fit in, y'all. Like, so everybody's in like kind of good shape, low haircuts, no facial hair. We got to fit in, fellas. So we go into the mall, and I just remember I walked in the mall, and at this time I've been in Kuwait for like a year, and obviously, you know, we're in Kuwait. We don't have all the same amenities as we do when we're in the US. So we get to the mall. It's my first time going there, and I'm like, oh, they got Krispy Kreme. I was like, you know what? Before I go to Krispy Kreme, let me go to the ATM. I'm gonna pull out some cash real quick.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. So I go to the ATM. I'm trying to speed through, and I'm talking to somebody else. Like, I've taken money out in a foreign country before. So I'm talking to somebody else. Boom, boom, boom. I hear the cash coming out. And the dinar starts coming out. And I was like, what did I do, man? Like, I was trying to take out $80, but like you said, over there in Kuwait, the Kuwaiti dinar, at least when I was there in 2010, the Kuwaiti dinar was, if something cost the dollar, if something cost the dollar there, it was $3 US. Mm-hmm. Man. And so I just remember I took the money out. I had to go find a conversion place. I get my $240 US dollars back. And so I go to the Krispy Kreme, and I was like, I want to get a donut. Mm-hmm. And so the lady, they can kind of speak English in there, and she was like, that's going to be $9. And I said, well, I want one donut. And she was like, that's one donut. I'll never forget that. I was like, nah, you can have it. I'm not spending $9 on a donut.
Was $9?
$9. A glazed donut. This is a regular glazed Krispy Kreme donut. Like, I was hurt. And then so I just remember seeing stores over there like Jimmy Choo and stuff like that. And I was like, who can afford to buy Jimmy Choo here?
Right.
You buying it 3 times the rate.
I was gonna say, if it's inflated like that, man, you need to just keep your money and keep it moving.
Yeah, like, you got to be a billionaire to shop there, because it would, if you can afford enough to take a vacation there, and you see those prices, I'm sure you have enough financial sense to be like, I'm just gonna wait till I go back to the US and save my money.
Unless you literally have money that you can piss away, I think everybody would be thinking the same thing. Let me go get it a little bit cheaper over in the States.
Yeah, that's when you raise the rich. Maybe you see that, you be like, money ain't a thing. Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, nah, if you was raised normal and then became rich, I feel like, because, you know, like, what they say, money doesn't change you, it enhances you. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would enhance my cheapness to have all this money. Like, yeah, I would spend it like in places where I would enjoy it, but I'd be like, nah, bro, I ain't giving you no, that's not worth $20.
And there is a certain piece to that. Like, obviously, when you make more money, like, you spend more, but at the same time, when you self-made, like, your thinking now is, hey, I done worked hard for this money. Like, you ain't about to get over on me. So there's definitely a dynamic there.
Oh, you brought up a good term, self-made. So one of the things I was thinking about, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I would have forgot about it. So with you guys, y'all are almost like kind of like independent contractors. Mm-hmm. Hey man, I provide the service. I'm a defensive end. You know what I mean? Here are my attributes. Here's my stats. Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you about providing my services to you for an extended period. You know, boom. And that's the, like, obviously I'm sure there's a lot more to the transaction, but you know, that's like the gist of it. How is it feeling like that, navigating, you know, the league like that, knowing, like how you said, you're not like one of the giant names who's like, oh yeah, we recognize him when he drove in the state. You know what I mean? Like, how is it like, you know, for a guy like yourself?
Mm-hmm. It's dope that, you know, like you said, that you can be an independent contractor. Like, whenever somebody signs you, they just signing you. And with that contract, you're getting, not every penny of that, but you're getting the guaranteed money, and it's all coming to you. Nobody else, not your manager. Obviously, your agent will get their fee. But outside of that, you know, you're getting most of it. But, I think most guys in this league will say that they feel like they're undervalued. Like people, teams have to go off of what they can see on tape. And not every team knows the scheme that you're playing or knows what your responsibilities are on each down. So you might do something that might not look great to somebody else, but inside that meeting room, your coach is giving you a pat on the back because you did the dirty work. You did something that other people weren't aware of. Now you fast forward towards the end of the season and you're a free agent and teams are looking at your tape. And obviously, if you played well, they'll be looking at you, but they don't know everything. They don't know every little thing that went into that play or went into that down. And they don't know the coaching you received on that down. So teams look at you a certain way, but they don't have all the information. And to be honest, that hurts a lot of guys just because you know what you're capable of and oh, well, if I played in that scheme, I can do what he's doing. But I didn't. I played in this scheme. So now I'm out here looking like this while this guy has a little more freedom doing that. So those are like kind of the interesting dynamics there are in free agency and, being an independent contractor is you know what your value is, but not everybody can see that same value. And that makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah. So with that, with knowing your value and then like maybe somebody kind of undervaluing you, whenever it's coming down to contract, are you the one who's like, or are you the one who's, well, I guess it'll be your agent who's like directly contacting them, like, nah, that's not a good amount, or no, we don't like this, or we don't like that. Like, how is that process? Or like, yeah, kind of explain the process to me. That's what I'm asking you. I'm sorry I asked you like that. So explain the process to me. You get told something, y'all both know y'all want each other, but it's just coming to terms on that. Is that stressful?
Yeah. So I guess just to answer your question, I'll just break down the whole kind of free agency process.
Because I'm sure I fucked that question up.
You good, brother. I understand what you were saying. But so at the beginning of free agency period, you'll get on the phone with your agent. Y'all decide on a number that you think is fair for your value. So you have a number in your head. Your agent agrees with you. Your agent's either going to tell you, like, I don't see you getting that much this offseason, or he'll be like, oh, no, you can get way more than that. So, or he'll be like, that's about right. I feel you on that. So y'all decide on a number. After y'all have a number in your head, your agent goes to work. He receives calls from other teams, sees how interested they are in you. And if they want you, they start the negotiation process. So your agent's job is to get as close to that number that y'all decided on at the beginning of free agency as he possibly can. And so let's say going into free agency, let's say the Falcons are interested in me. Let's say my number is, we decide on 6 million. That's my number per year. So Falcons will reach out to my agent. They'll go back and forth. The agent will come to me and be like, hey, so talking to the Falcons, they really interested in you, but they can only give you 4. So now it's up to you. It's like, do I take this 4 or do I be like, all right, we'll wait and go see what else is out there? But you just got to know yourself. You got to know the situation. You got to know all that. And most guys, I'd say 90% of the guys in this league don't get the money that they're anticipating just because it's a brutal business. Teams want to short you. Teams are trying to stay under the cap. That's their job. And then obviously your job is to get as much money as you can do. So there's a disconnect, and the best way to do it is make sure you have a good agent that can get you as close to your number as possible. So let's say my number is 6, my agent comes to me at 4. I'll be like, okay, that's a good starting point. How about this? Let's get those other $2 million in incentives. And then, you kind of play a numbers game to where you can sneak another 2 million and get your number closer to 6. So really, that's the process. You decide on a number and try to get as close to that number as you possibly can.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good way to break that down too. That was like very understandable.
No, not at all. I didn't know if I was rambling, but I'm glad you picked up on it.
Yeah. I think that was a really good explanation of it. So what would like be an incentive? I get X amount of sacks or whatever. Or...
So there's all types of incentives. So there's per game incentives, which every time, like let's say you're injury prone and you don't play that, like you've only played 60% of the games in your career. So some teams will give you a per game incentive, meaning that every time you dress up for this team, you'll get an extra check, just to make sure that you're filling your obligations. Also, there's SAC incentives, there's Pro Bowl incentives, there's just making the 53-man roster, there's incentives and going to OTAs. Like you can come up with all types of incentives. It's just the team got to agree with it.
Hey, boy, just to suit up.
Well, I mean, that's how you get that 6. So let's say my number is 6, but let's say a team is like, you only played about 8 games last year. We don't feel comfortable giving you all this money. We're going to give you 4. And you'd be like, trust me, I'm going to be out there this year. All right, let's make up the other 2 in, per game incentives. If you don't believe I'm going to be out there, give me a check every time I dress up. And that's just kind of a way just to kind of get everybody's numbers on the same page.
Yeah, it's like all right, I'm comfortable with this. So that's kind of similar. Like, obviously with the numbers, it's completely different. But like the similar to how like I'll like negotiate out my contract. So if I go somewhere, I'll generally tell somebody like, majority of my work I get is up in Austin. So I'll always negotiate out with the company that I'm working with. I want a 2-hour minimum. Plus, if I can try to get some travel, I'm either gonna get the travel rate put in there, or I'm gonna have a way that I get travel baked into my hourly rate. Mm-hmm. And so we'll go with that. I guess that would be like the guaranteed money, my 2 hours. Mm-hmm. From that point on, we go into hourly. That would be my dress out money, basically. You know what I mean? Like, hey, every hour that I'm here, y'all are paying me X amount. So absolutely. That's kind of similar. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So how confident was you the first time you was like, it's going to be $6 million?
Well, like I said, I've been a free agent. Let's see. I've been a free agent I've been a free agent 3 times in my career. And each time the number is different. It just depends on, how you played the past couple of seasons. But, if you play well and you're confident, in that number, which I've been using that 6 million as an example. If you're confident in that number, then you should stand by that. You know what you offer on the field. You know what your game tape shows. If you're confident in that number, stick with it, and somebody will recognize it or somebody will try to meet you there. So, but I mean, you got to look in the mirror. You got to be realistic for yourself. You can't say you a $10 million guy, but you out here playing like a $4 million guy. Like you gotta be self-aware and know realistically what type of player you are and what your services demand.
I'm in the wrong fucking industry because I need to be I would love to be looked at as, look at Will slacking off. That's why he only make $4 million a year.
And I know I use that comparison like 4 M's ain't shit, but I was just throwing numbers out there, man.
Yeah, no, I get you, y'all. Yeah, y'all were like that ain't broke ass man. Probably drove a Crown Vic up here.
Stop it, bro. Stop it.
Nah, man. Yeah, nah, that's crazy. I just I couldn't imagine my first time. So obviously, you know what? I want to back that up before we even jump into that. Can we talk about, we're all over with your career. What's it like going through the draft process? That was 9 years ago. I don't know if you remember. I would assume that kind of stands out because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, can you kind of take me through that if it still sticks with you?
Yeah. So let's see. It was 2013. I was actually here in Pflugerville. Actually, I was at the crib. But went through the whole draft process. Went through the combine. Went through the pro day. All of that. Met with teams. So after all that, your agent will kind of give you an idea where you fall. But unless you're a top 5 pick, nobody knows exactly where you're going to fall. So my agent said, I'm going to be a 2 to 3 guy. He thinks second round, but I could possibly slide into the third. First round went by. I knew, there was a slimmer hope I could sneak in, but that's not really where, I put my hopes into. Now, second round, I was like, okay, this is me. I feel it coming. My name's going to get called. just crickets. My phone was dry that night. Second and third round is the same day. So second round went. Now third round, okay, I gotta get a call this third round. No call, crickets. So I'm a little, I'm a little disappointed at this point just because I know what I can offer. And when you see guys go over you that you know you're better than, like it hits a little different. Like I've seen this guy play in college. I've played against him. I know I got tape of me beating him. Like that hits a little different when they go before you. But luckily the next day, fourth round, I think it might have just been a few picks in, I get that call, man. And it went from a little bit disappointed to, okay, my dream has been fulfilled. Like that switch is so crazy from disappointment to excitement. It's unreal. And I think most people will tell you that story unless you're a top 5 pick. I think every person in the draft thinks they should go higher than what they are. Even if you number 5, I'm sure you thought you should have gone number 2. So everybody in the draft is a little bit disappointed just because they all feel they should go higher. But I'll tell you, once they get that call, man, it turns into blessings and gratefulness and just excitement, man. And that's how it was for me.
It's like it don't even matter no more.
Like, man, I got a team, I got a home. Arizona, let's go, man. Let's go. So I mean, that's kind of how it was for me.
So did you have a party or anything?
So it wasn't a party. I just had like a little get together. I had just family come over, had some food, drinks, all that type of stuff. I had family, my agent, my homies all there. But like I said, it wasn't really a party just because I didn't know exactly where I was gonna fall in. Like mine was a 3-day event. I was a day 3 pick. First round was Thursday night. Second and third round was Friday night. I had to wait both of those days, and then my day finally came Saturday morning. So
was you on the ticker?
That was dope, though. That was dope.
Yeah, hell yeah! Like just to see it, I probably watched that for like 3 hours.
I definitely had it recorded, man.
Yeah,
it was dope. But the one thing that's crazy is that when you're waiting on that call and your phone rings and it's not a team, like you damn near ready to toss your phone out the window. Or
quit calling me.
Right. If it's a family member or a homie, damn, blood. Man, my heart just dropped. I thought I got picked. Man, don't call me no more.
I'm off limits today, man. Don't call me.
I'm waiting for one call and one call only. So,
oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. So, tell me the feeling. I know you said disappointment, but you got your friends, your family around. Your agent was at the house?
Yeah, he was at the house. Man.
Okay, so your agent's at the house, and he's saying, hey, man, you probably like 2, 3.
Yeah.
2 goes past, 3 goes past. I don't know what number it starts on it for. I know you was number 103, right?
Yeah.
So when it starts, when you're getting deep into the third round, I guess, are you feeling like, yo, this might not happen or what?
Well, it's just, I mean, you try to hold on for any type of hope you have. And then you start looking at team situations as well. So it's like, okay, this team needs a D end. I'm the next best option there is out there. Let's see, I'm waiting on it. Call for that pick. Then the next team, they might have taken a D in the first round. So, you're not going to get picked by this team. So you're not even stressing for this team. So you kind of have like a few teams that you hold your breath for, but by that time you kind of know how it's going to play out a little bit.
Yeah, you can like analyze it a little bit. Yeah. Where did you want to go?
Man, so the thing about the draft is the team you think that's going to take you usually does not take you, and the team that doesn't talk to you at all usually takes you. So
that's what I heard.
So during the pre-draft process, the Steelers were, they were heavily interested in me. Mike Tomlin came out here and we had dinner at P.F. Chang's, and we chopped it up with him and a couple other coaches. So after that dinner, I was sold. I could have sworn I was going to be a Steeler.
Looking at YouTube in Pittsburgh.
Right. I could have slayed. I told everybody, you can book it. I'm going to be a Steeler. And just thinking that, it hurt a little more every time the Steelers passed up on me. But the Cardinals took me, and I didn't have one conversation with the Cardinals. And like you said, you hear it all the time, and I hear it all the time too. That's exactly how it usually plays out. The team that doesn't say a word till you text you, and the team you've had contact with, a lot of times they go in another direction.
So that's so crazy. I just couldn't even imagine that. Like, it's just like that antsy feeling. All right, man, I've already declared, so I'm done with college. There ain't no turning back. You get the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the turnaround time? Like, hey, you're a Cardinal. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Tomorrow, be on the first thing smoking. Like, what is it?
Now, if you're usually the way it plays out, if you're a first or second rounder, you got to fly out the next day. Like they usually bring you in on a PJ or something like that, but they're gonna bring you in the next day because that's what the fans want to see. Everybody else usually get a few days, maybe even a week before you got to report. So I know I had close to a week before I had to report. So kicked it with family, hollered at friends. Right after I got drafted, obviously went out and partied. So, I had to knock all that stuff off the checklist. And then once that week hit, all right, now my mind's fresh. Now my mind's ready to go. Let's start my career off with a bang, man. Let's start it off positively. And, you take that flight out there and get it going.
So what do you do? You're a brand new rookie.
Mm-hmm.
You go to town. So let me tell you what probably every normal guy thinks. You've been a professional for a while, so I don't know if you still can remember this. In my mind, you get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Big lump sum of cash hits that account after you sign.
Yeah.
You move out to Arizona. What's it, Scottsdale?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Phoenix because that's where the facility was, but everything's within like a 20-30 minute radius.
So you move out to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go get like some super fly apartment or something, or like a big house and like a Benz? Like what do you do? You get there, now what?
Yeah, so I told myself, wherever I go, as long as I get drafted, first thing I'm getting is a whip. That's what I need, a whip. And then, I'm good. We can figure the rest out. So I already knew what car I wanted. I wanted an Audi AA. That was like my dream car when I was in college. And, like you said, once that signing bonus hit the account, you could toss me the keys to that. So that was my big purchase. And after that, for me, it was like, all right, how do I make sure I get on this field? Because I mean, everybody has one big purchase that they want to make. You gotta enjoy it somehow. So you spend that money on what you want, and then after that, your mind goes back to football, and you're like, okay, let me lock in and let me make sure that I can get another contract. Like first thing I did is I just spent all this money on a car. For some people, it might be a watch. For somebody else, it might be a house, whatever it is. But for me, I got that car, and the next thing is, let me make sure this ain't the only thing I'm gonna be able to buy with my money. Like, let me make sure that I'm gonna be in this league for a long time so I can keep stacking and make sure that this isn't the highlight of my career. And that was just kind of my mentality going into it my rookie year.
That's smart. So with taking that approach, did you invest your money? Is somebody there to help you with this? You're this new millionaire. Like, is somebody there to Alex, man, hey, you should invest your money in this, or you know what I mean? Or do you have to seek that out?
Yeah, so I've been blessed. My pops is a CPA. So from the jump, I knew he was going to handle all my money, all my assets, stuff like that. So I never had to stress. But yeah, finding a financial advisor is difficult for a lot of guys just because, one, most people don't want one. Nobody wants to be told what they can and can't spend their money on. And two, you just don't know who to trust because you hear all these horror stories about people getting robbed and going bankrupt by financial advisors. So it's really a difficult process trying to find, realizing you need a financial advisor and then finding one that you can trust is a difficult process. But I mean, it goes back to just having good people in your corner. If you trust your agent, if your agent's good people, if your friends and family are good people, you'll find somebody that'll take care of your money properly. So, but one thing I will say is don't ever just sit back and let people make moves for you. Never give anybody power of attorney unless you 1,000% trust them. You need to always know what they're doing with your money, because they'll take your money out and be like, all right, I'm gonna take out 300K and you'll see 10% return on this. But you don't know how you're getting that 10% return. So your financial advisor could be doing some shady shit, could be, trying to get over on somebody in a legal type business, but they give you your 10% and it's all good. But then 3 years later, now you getting sued or somebody else is getting sued for bad business or something like that. So I would definitely say, even if your financial advisor is getting the job done and giving you your returns, still see what your money's going into, because it could be dirty money. You never know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because how do y'all get these people? Well, you had your dad, so like you didn't have to worry about that.
Right.
Is there like a list that like teams have? Like, hey, we trust these people or we do business with these people? Like,
yeah. Well, first of all, the NFLPA, which is the Players Association, there's like verified financial advisors. So if you're looking at a financial advisor and he's not verified through the NFLPA, then that's already a red flag. So that's like step number one. Then you go out for the people that are verified by the NFLPA, and I'm sure not all of them are, clean financial advisors. So now the relationship with your agent is important. Like, whenever you sign an agent in college, like, you need to be able to trust this dude. You need to be able to talk to him on a daily basis. You need to be able to communicate with him, because honestly, he can help you. He can help find, a good financial advisor for you. Now, playing off that, I would be careful of an agent that comes with a financial advisor, meaning, okay, I just signed my agent. Now this agent is trying to push a financial advisor on me because he always works. That's a little sketchy, just because, a conflict of interest. But, if you sign your agent, you trust your agent, then let's say you meet with 5 financial advisors, bring your agent into those meetings, because that's your right-hand man. Bring your agent, bring your mom or your pops, bring your brother, somebody you trust, the homie. Bring people in that you trust to meet with these people with you, so that afterwards y'all can get a good feel for, who you think y'all want to go with.
Yeah. That's so, you just, man, really fortunate. Like,
man, I am, bro. Like, to be able for my pops to be my financial advisor and CPA, man, that's a blessing. I tell people that all the time, because it's a dirty game. Financial advisors, all that type of stuff, especially with athletes, it's a dirty game because they know they can get over on us.
Especially, yeah, like if you're like you're probably like financially savvy now. You know what I mean? Or like at least to maybe it's not like so like, oh, I'm so lost, man. I got all this money. Like now you have a better handle on it. But a dude who's what? Y'all can be what, 20, 21, come out, say you're first round, first pick, you got all this money dropped in your account, and strangers are popping up like,
blue.
I can help you manage your money, man. You can trust me, man. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you get a billion new friends when you get in the NFL. And so it's like, and you just have to trust these dudes, like, or hope that you can. And then, yeah, like you said, you get robbed blind. I remember watching that. I used to be heavy on watching the 30 for 30s. They had one, it was called Broke. I don't know if you watched them or not.
The best ones, man.
Yeah, man. And yeah, just watching that, like, it was like stuff that I had been saying too. And I was just like, I feel like for some of y'all who's in college and like people know, they should be like, look, man, yeah, you're a political science major, but you're going to the NFL, dog. Like, take these classes. It's like mandatory. You need to take these financial advisor classes, you know what I'm saying? Like, or financial management, whatever. Because there's some people who like, all right, you're not going to go get some regular job. You're about to be a professional athlete. So we need to start prepping your mind for like the amount of money that you're going to be like handling, and how to pick people who's going to help you manage your money. What are the titles of people who manage money? Like all those different things that people don't talk to people about. But yeah, like I said, you was really fortunate.
Yeah, and just one more little thing off that is that, like, financial advisors will try to press you by being like, oh, what you doing with your money? And you'll be like, oh, I'm just stacking, I'm saving. They're like, is it all sitting in an account? And some people be like, yeah. They're like, you need to be making money off that, which is true. Like, it's better to have your money invested and seeing a return on that than just sitting in your account. But I tell young guys all the time, I'd rather my money sit in my account before I make a bad investment. So like,
Mm-hmm.
you like, don't always look at money sitting in your account as a negative. Like, we're obviously you want to make money off your money, but you want to do that safely. You want to know you have a solid investment, and sometimes it takes time to do that. So don't be afraid just to have your money stack. At least it's safe there. At least you ain't losing.
Right. At least it's safe there. Yeah, man. No, that's so for the older guys who's in the locker room, do y'all do that with like some of the young dudes who come in? Like, hey man, like, is it kind of structured and formal, or is it kind of informal? Like, hey man, I see you, I like you. Let me make sure that you're straight.
Yeah. So what it is rookies coming in. They have like a rookie symposium where they'll cover like all types of topics. Now they're not going deep into like money management or nothing, like what to invest in and stuff like that. But they give you as coming in as a rookie, you only need one car, you only need one place, you stuff like that. They give you just a simple laydown. But so they'll get a little bit of knowledge through that. But what I usually do, man, is whenever I have a young guy just, wanting knowledge or something like that, if you approach me, I'll give you a whole breakdown. I tell you, I can give you the short answer right now, or you can sit down with me and I can give you the long answer, and I let them choose that way. But also for me, whenever I see people making poor choices with their money, I nudge them a little bit, and I don't get in their business or nothing like that, but I'll be like, okay, I see you cop that. What else you got your money in since you can afford that? And just ask like little simple questions just to get their mind going. Like, oh, maybe I should be doing something a little more productive with my money or whatnot. So,
Nah, that's good. That's mentorship. That's such like an important thing in any way that you can try to do it. And that to me is like a huge thing, because there's so many guys who you can relate to, brand new, suddenly you're wealthy, but 5 minutes ago you was broke. And now what do? You know what I mean? Like, let me step in, man. I was you. Let me help you. The military was big on that with a lot of things, like with people who you would see, like whenever I started making it up in rank, and I would see like young guys who come in, and it's like young guys you could relate to, man. Like, look, dude, like, I'm be coming in here getting in all this trouble and stuff, man. Like, let me talk to you. What you doing with your money? We're not making millions, but you make decent money being in the military. And so it's like, what are you doing with your money, man? Here, let me help you with this. Do you invest your money? Do you know what investing your money is? You know what I mean? All that type of stuff. And you try to help these dudes out. And it feels good when you see people like really like take into what you're saying. I'm no financial guru or nothing like that, but like just to be like, yeah, man, like here's some things you should look at. You know what I mean? X, Y, and Z. And then they're like, they come back to you and they're talking to you like, hey, man, I was looking at this. And what do you think about this? It's like, oh, yeah, cool. We'll talk about this. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. And just speaking, when you said I'm not no financial guru, like there's there's an experience and there's a lesson for everyone. Like guys that aren't financial gurus, sometimes they don't want to talk to guys that are financial gurus just because they don't relate, man. You want to hear from somebody that you relate to. So sometimes guys that aren't financial gurus but like learn their way through it can appeal to people and connect with people more than a guy that got it from the jump. So
yeah.
I say all that to say that always give I've learned that always give your experiences, man, because you don't know how people receive your message. Some people might receive your message better than a message coming from somebody else. So that's my little point right there.
No, that's a good point to make. I definitely do agree with that. There was a guy when I was in the Army. It's kind of like a good story. I won't mention his name because I never talk good about him. So there was this guy who, when I was in the Army, if he sees this, oh well, man. But golly, man, he would just brag all the time. big time bragging dude. I got $1 million. I'll show you I have $1 million. He would show people his bank account. But he was a black dude. He was investing in stocks and everything. And he's a black dude from Mississippi, investing in stocks, made $1 million off the stock market. And he would always brag about, man, I put down like 10,000 and I made $50,000, blah, 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 blah. Come look. And all like, I feel like there's a fine line between like excitement and bragging. And I think that he was probably teetering on the line, but he was definitely more so over here with bragging.
Right.
This man took me to his house to show me around his house one day. Like, I thought we was going somewhere else. And I was like, where are we going? We pulled up at his house. Like, how was he a fucking house, man? Yeah. This is kidnapped. But yeah. So he would brag about what he was doing every day. And he would talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it to the point to where I accidentally was picking up on what he was saying. And so I started putting my money in the stock market, and I started making my little money off that. And I remember I figured out how to do it. I was making a lot of, I won't say I was making a lot. I was making steady money from doing monthly dividends. And so I was like, I'm hype about it. I'm on Facebook. And I one of my messages for 2015 popped up. And it was like, yo, I'll teach you how to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is me. Y'all know me. Blah, 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 blah. I just want to reach out. I just want to help people. And you'll be, oh my God, it's so crazy. I was about to say, you'll be shocked, but you probably know. People will say all the time, man, if somebody would just show me this, blah, 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 and you offer to help them and nobody takes the help. I'm like, we all sit here and talk about some, man, if just somebody, could just show me how to do this, I swear I'd be blah, blah, blah. And I'm here like, hey, man, I'll talk with you, DM me, blah, 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 blah. We can really start doing this, it's like, we can all come up together. Yeah, maybe 3-4 people. And I'm like, this makes no sense to me because we all at the time, we all hate the amount of money we're making. We all want to make more money. I don't know.
Some people, some people want things, but just don't want to put the work into it, or just don't want to sit down and, really dive into something. Like, some people just need to get pushed, and, I see that a lot as well. So one thing I did want to, not to change topics, but before I forgot, I've been meaning to say this for a while. I know throughout this whole podcast interview, you've always kind of related your experiences to my experiences in the league. One thing I'll say is it goes both ways. I feel like football, just as a sport, has always been, kind of synonymous with the military. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, because I know y'all risk y'all's lives to defend this country. But I'd say no. Go ahead. Mentality wise, we pick up on every little thing that the military does. Between training camp and games, we view training camp as y'all's boot camp. We view Sundays as going to war. So it's just cool experiences because we've been trained our whole lives in football just to view this stuff as, the military, or we're going to war, or we're going to battle or combat. And it's just kind of, dope you sharing as well. So
nah, that's funny. I think that's always been a kind of a similarity. Cause you'll talk about that. Football is huge, and I can say in the Army, I haven't been in all branches, but in the Army, football is huge. And it's because of them type of the same type of things, you have offensive strikes, you have defensive positions, you know what I mean? That you use in the military. And it's that's with how you fight. You know what I mean? You using strategies, just y'all have plays, those are y'all strategies. We have fighting tactics, and we have fight movements, and that, you know what I mean? Those are our plays, and it's we're heavy on, y'all are heavy on training. What is it? Y'all people always say that with the military, and it's people always say with the NFL, and it's the same with the military or sports in general. You train more than you actually do the real thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? We're in the military, we're consistently training to the point to where y'all have training camp, we have the field, and that's where you pack it all up, and we're gonna be all right, y'all, for 2 weeks, we heading out there to the field. You can't come back. We're simulating it we're deployed. You're gonna be carrying the weapons around you. It's just to lock you in that mindset to where we're all here. You got to be focused in on what we got going right. nothing matters but right here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I've always seen that, like, that, you know, you hear it on ESPN or different like sports outlets where they talk about like, oh, so and so, he's a field general, he's the general of the field, you know what I mean? Blah blah blah. They're going to battle, you know, like just all the type of different the references and everything. It is cool. Like, it's like football athletes want to because it's across all sports. Like, athletes want to like be in the military people want to be like athletes. Like, it's
no question. No.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Yeah, I don't want to hang up too much of your time. I think we've been doing this for an hour. I try to stay aware. We're doing this for an hour and 20. So I guess before we get out of here, I normally ask people, do they want to give out their social media stuff, but I don't know, maybe you don't. Like,
no, I'm good, man. I'm on IG at Alex Okafor. On Twitter, at Okafor 57. So yeah. So those are my handles right there.
Okay, yeah, and I'll put those in the show notes. And man, yeah, I appreciate you coming on here. You know what I mean? I know it was real impromptu. I bumped into you. Mm-hmm. I somehow end up. That's like what I do. Like, because like I said, I've been in business for a few years for myself. I know now. Like, tell people what you do. You never know where it's gonna take you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here doing a podcast with you, and like we don't even have paths that were ordinarily crossed. Me and you was never at that hookah bar before. You know what I mean? You're in the NFL. I'm in the IT field. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you would ever come to my job because I don't have one. I work for myself. So like, It was like by fate, you know what I mean? Like, we bumped into each other, and then just like I said, man, just good vibes, man. Just talking. You was easy to talk to, you know what I mean? And it's like you wanted to talk. Like, that was one of the things I told my friends. I was like, it's crazy. Dude was in the NFL. And I was like, he wanted to talk to me. Like, yeah, like I was like, it was cool, you know.
No, it's cool. And being in the league, man, you know, sometimes you kind of get in a bubble, and, you know, just being around, you know, different athletes, being around like just a certain type of person or a certain type of people, you kind of lose touch with reality a little bit. You lose touch of the real world a little bit. So anytime in my off season, man, early in my career, I was always the guy that, you know, when I saw somebody recognize me, I put my head down and I was trying to get out as fast as possible. But, you know, as I've gotten older, man, I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy, you know, seeing what the other side's like, because I know I'm going to be there eventually. So, and I just love meeting good people. So, you know, salute, brother.
Yeah, nah. So I guess real quick before you go, and when the NFL is done, would you want to like try to get into something like how your pops does, maybe like be a CPA and help other guys out with their money, or what?
Man, that's the hard thing, man. I know I'm going into year 9, but I still have no idea what I want to do after football. I have ideas of what I'd like to do, but I don't have a certain path set once I get outside the league. But one thing I know I do want to do is, you know, I always want to build the community, whether that's Pflugerville or that's somewhere else. So whenever I retire, you know, I'm gonna still be doing, you know, work out in the field, out in the community. That'll never change, and I can just fall back on that. Luckily, I've invested well enough to where I shouldn't be struggling right when I retire. So, you know, I'll have the opportunities to go back and give back to the community. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and everything else will just fall back in place.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Well, like you said, you're a free agent now. You could always be a Titan.
Hey man, I like what Vrabel's doing out there in Tennessee, man.
Man,
y'all out there building. I've peaked.
Hey man, we went from shit to sugar, man. Like we look.
I'm still a little salty the way y'all did my dude Vince Young, but you know.
Man, yeah. Things could have went. Man, it was a tumultuous time, man. Around that point, like you see, we went on from that point winning. Like we had some there's some people who like leave teams. Mm-hmm. I've been like with Tennessee the whole time. I remember watching games like let me tell you like the level of fan, man. Like not like I'm like super crazy, but I live in Hawaii at the time. Mm-hmm. They just draft Marcus Mariota, and I'm like, dope. So they're gonna show the games out here. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to watch football. to watch the Titans get their ass kicked. Oh my God. Like, here I am. I'm pissed off at 7 a.m. because we losing to the Browns. And I'm like, and this ain't like the Baker Mayfield, like on the come up, we got everybody stacked up, Browns. This is I don't even know who the quarterback is, Browns. I think Johnny Manziel beat us one time. I was like, oh man, like we can't suck this bad, y'all. Like, there'll be some games that we should have won. And like to now, for it to be like now watching the Titans, I'd be like, we might drop 40 on them. Like,
y'all built it the right way. Like I said, I give it to Vrabel, man. He came in and gave y'all a different type of mentality. And I mean, I like what y'all got going on, man. You a real one, though, for sticking with him.
Man, hey, I try to, you know what I'm saying? Like, woo! You was in the league at that point in time. You ain't got to talk bad because you're a free agent, but I'm pretty sure, like, those dudes, like, hey, y'all, like, we're going to play Tennessee this week, so you know.
There was some dark days out in Nashville. I'll even say that whole division at one point between Jaguars, the Texans, and the Titans, I think, and I don't even think the Colts was all that back then. I want to say one time y'all's division was, everybody struggling.
And we was competitive because we was all trash. It was good games within the division.
Yeah. but outside the division, that's hilarious, bro. Yeah, it was definitely some dark days, but y'all didn't bounce back nicely.
Bounce back, man. Like, I know you probably can't like speak too much because it might be like selling out, but like Derrick Henry, dog, like it's that.
He's a good player, man. He's definitely a monster, dog.
He's a big man.
He's definitely a big man, and he has a skill set that not too many guys in this league have, and he shows it every single Sunday.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, and then we'll hop off here. So, is there any play that stands out to you from your career? It could be maybe college, whatever. Just any play that's always like that. Man, that was that play. Like, I really handled business.
Yep, I got I mean, I'm gonna always go back to my first sack ever, and that was my second year in the league. I want to say either week 4 or 5. It was my first start ever. And I ended up getting 2 sacks actually that game. But I remember the first one specifically. It was on Kirk Cousins. So I'll never forget that just because it's the first one. But a play that probably my favorite play ever in my career is I got when I was in Arizona as well, I got a pick off Alex Smith, man. The only pick I've ever gotten in my career, man. I got a pick off him, ran it back maybe a good 20, 30 yards, man. And it made my day. I've never gotten a pick ever in my career, not middle school, not high school, not college. And
that was your first pick?
To get one in the league, man, like listen, you couldn't tell me shit for the rest of the season. Like I was him after that pick.
What? Like, I know y'all seen them hands.
Right.
y'all, look, I was going to bring it in with 1, but, I ain't want to do all that.
Right. I wanted to make sure I secured it, but I could have. Look, don't try. Throw it at me again. We'll see what happens.
Right. Definitely. So, all right. So your first sack was bigger to you than getting a sack in the Super Bowl?
Man, I would say that just because we lost in the Super Bowl, so that even though that moment was special for me, it wasn't like that first sack. Because let me break down everything that went into that first sack. So my first year in the league, I tear my bicep. So I think I might have played maybe a total of maybe 30 snaps the whole season. I was on IR. So my second year in the league, I get hurt during training camp, so I have a slow camp. But one of our guys goes down early in the season. So week 4, the GM hits my agent and was like, "Listen, we're gonna toss Alex out there and see what he has. It's gonna be like a sink or swim moment for him. Like either he can have this spot and he can run with it, or if he doesn't play well, we might be looking in a different direction moving forward. So my agent tells me that, and I'm young. This is my second year in the league, and you mean to tell me if I have a bad game, like I'll never get another chance again? So that was just kind of it was do or die going into that game. And I've never started a game. I've never played a game more than maybe like 20 snaps at this point in my career. And for me to go in and get a two-piece out there, it was meant to be. It was like my welcome to the league moment. Like I belong here. So it was special for me.
Okay. Dang, that was all right. That was like my second question. What was your welcome to the league? Okay. No. It's all good. That's all good. Yeah. I mean, shoot, you wrapped it up. Like, and I think that was like for that to stick out to you. I'm sure that's just like such a big monumental, like, dang, I really sat Kirk Cousins. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dang, that's crazy. Just those type of experiences to have that. Like I said, man, Ayo, I appreciate you coming on here, showing me love. It was genuine, been genuine from the jump. Like, yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And I remember that next day, I was like, I'm really gonna hit dude up. And I was like, I'm gonna see what he say, man. I was like, I don't know if dude was drunk and he gonna be like, damn, right. I really gave him my number. Cause I was like, yeah, man. I was like, can I hit you on the gram? You was like, man, better yet, here's my number. I'm like, okay, all right.
I knew myself. I knew if you tried to hit me up on the gram, like I wasn't gonna respond, man. Like you said, it's like one of those moments where like we had been drinking, we had been chopping it up, had a good time, but then the same love might not be felt the next day. So I'm like, man, I really enjoy homie's company, though. Let me give him my number so it kind of like presses the issue to follow, because I knew if I gave you my IG, I didn't really have any obligation to get back to you. So it was good people, and I wanted to do right by you.
Man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. So on that, man, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end the recording real quick. This has been Walker Will. I appreciate it. You're always welcome back too, by the way. Whenever you want to.
No, just shoot the invite and we'll make something happen.
All right, bet.